Welcome back to Avixa TV, where we are, of course, live from Infocom 2024 here in the beautiful, sunny Las Vegas. I'm here with my colleague and co-presenter Samantha Powell, and we are joined now by Phil Langley, Senior VP from Wesco. Phil, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
How are you doing?
Great.
Excellent.
First day.
Have you had time to recover? You've come a long way, right?
No, I come from Dallas.
Oh, okay. You're not.
Can't you tell from the accent?
So, have you had a chance to walk around the floor?
I haven't. We've been really busy, which is great. We're in the other area over there, so no, we've been really busy. But I intend to walk around this one. This one looks fantastic.
Yeah, excellent. So we usually like to start with a bit of a trends question. So how would you say the decision-making process for Pro AV Solutions has changed post-pandemic, especially at the sort of executive level?
Yeah, I think like most things, the pandemic accelerated a trend that was already happening. So the decision maker we're finding is the office of the CIO. That it's within that group. Now, it used to be facilities from a Pro AV perspective, and back in the day when networks and video conferencing were let under a different contract or IT, now it's come together under the office of the CIO. But that was happening just before the pandemic, but even more so now. So yeah, which is good.
Yeah, for sure.
And the Pro AV market, it is just consistently and constantly changing and undergoing significant disruption with new entrants into the industry with all sorts of new technological advancements. So how is Wesco positioning itself to lead in this disruptive environment?
Right in the middle.
Okay.
We are uniquely positioned. We know the network very well. We've been following large network deploying organizations for many, many years. We have other technologies under our portfolio like physical security. So we have a strategic, and I'm talking the Pro AV business, not Wesco in general. We have 3 pillars that we work within. 2 of them are channels, Pro AV channel and the Datacom security and IT channel. These guys over here are coming into the Pro AV industry at a rate of knots, as well as the Pro AV channel looking at other technologies. We all want to be the master integrators now. We're sitting right in between that because of our years of experience with and relationships with other systems integrators that weren't necessarily in Pro AV, and of course our Pro AV partners. So we're right, I think it'd be fair to say, right in the middle, and smoothing the pathway in both directions.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, for sure. I also know that, so we've spoken before, obviously, in preparation for this, and you've mentioned what's known as a service-forward approach. What do you mean by that, and why is it so important?
So I think the best way to answer that question really is that Wesco is a global service provider that just happens to be a good global distributor. So we're not necessarily the distributor that some people may think of as in the Pro AV business. And we lead with services like working capital services. As we find the complexity of technology has gone down, but the volumes have gone up, the operating models of some of our channel has been put under stress. So instead of doing 40 rooms, they're doing 4,000 rooms. How do they cash flow that? So we have working capital programs. We have programs where we can help with their labour, for unproductive labour. Because of our scale, we can help them. If they want to scale globally, we can underpin them in that effort, and we wear their t-shirts as well, so we just sort of work in the background with them. So that's really what it is. So it's we fix the problem that they have with whatever the service is, and the product is secondary to that. It's very necessary, but it's secondary.
And I know that we're here in wonderful, very warm Las Vegas. Yeah. And there's been just so, and your technology is in a lot of these new entertainment venues and everything that's just been popping up as of late. And it's definitely a growth area for Wesco. Looking ahead, what is Wesco's vision going forward in terms of growth and impact in the Pro AV industry, and how is Wesco positioning itself to lead in such this disruptive environment?
Yeah, it's a follow-on from the last question, really. We're enabling channels to enter. The AV, an Ethernet port turned up on the back of a Pro AV piece of equipment, and many years ago, and that opened it up to a new world. And AV now, in a lot of cases, is just another endpoint on the network that the office of the CIO has to look at. So our job is, because we know the network, we know different system integrators, and we're helping people come across into new technologies. We sit right in that middle. So it's really similar. Our position is enabling services forward, and embracing the change, because there's a lot of change hitting us, and we're here to make sure that people can still be profitable and adapt to the marketplace.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also command and control centers. I want to talk about that for a minute because it's something, especially based on some of the research that Avixa produced, it's a segment of the market that's growing, and I think often people generally see these as quite sort of mammoth undertakings. Is that always necessarily the case?
No, it's not. And I admit I was the same, Ben. I thought the same thing. But every data center, we're seeing data centers pop up all over the place. We don't need to go into the NVIDIA chip piece, when data centers are popping up one a month everywhere. Every one of those data centers has a NOC or a SOC. It doesn't have to be a big network operations center or a big emergency services operations center. They can be very small. And again, this is very similar to the UCC spaces where we're seeing we've got a number of manufacturers with new technologies that it's tiny little boxes now that can handle up to 30 cameras. You can stack them, and they can service those smaller NOCs and SOCs. Low complexity, high volume, which is where we come in.
Fantastic. And I've been hearing a lot of people talk about, blank as a service and in terms of conference rooms as a service. What are you seeing in terms of some of the trends regarding conference rooms as a service right now?
That's a really good question because the voice of the customer, every office of the CIO wants to consume a UCC outcome as opposed to owning it and putting it on a balance sheet. But I think we're in and we have a solution for this that we can deploy globally. But we're in the very early stages, so there's a want there. We've deployed a number of these, but we haven't hit our straps yet. So we're definitely trending towards as a service, consuming as a service as they do their software, as they do their office equipment. As the technology allows itself or lends itself to be scaled, whereas it's very hard to scale creativity, but when you've got a process that scales really well. So if you think about a simplified box, it will scale. It will happen, but we're in that early stages of that evolution.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of, so obviously we're here, huge AV show. What would be a successful show as an outcome for Wesco? What are you looking to see, do? Who are you looking to speak to? What are you looking to discover whilst you're here?
Yeah, so we view the shows two ways. One is it's obviously meeting your customers, getting them all in the one place. A lot of business gets done off the show floor. You get to rekindle old relationships and make new ones. So direct business obviously is one that you look for at a show, but it's also a really good branding exercise. Now, my job when I started with Wesco was to steer that juggernaut. We're a $23 billion organisation. There's to steer that juggernaut out of pivoting Pro AV industry. So for me, branding us in this industry to say, here we are, this is our message, it's a differentiated strategy, it's a different message. And for me, a success would be that people coming back and talking our strategy to us and asking us about we've heard you do this, we'd really want to be able to be part of that program. That would be successful for me, Ben.
Excellent.
And all the team.
Yeah, and so when you say people come up to me saying, we've heard you do this, with this platform you have now, what are the things that they've heard you do? What are the things that you want people to know?
So underpinning their, we've got customers that have had relationships with their end users for 15 years. They've got great relationships. But their customer now says, I've got 10,000 rooms to do and 8,000 of them are outside of the US. And by all means, we'd love you to have the business. Can you do it? Mm-hmm. We allow them to say yes. We allow them to say yes. So we underpin that program for them, and that's been the most successful. So the silent partner, I think, is probably the way to do it.
Sounds good. And if people want to come and continue the conversation with you, where's the best way to get hold of you while you're at the show here?
We're over on the booth, and I can't remember the name of the booth. In the other hall.
Yeah, Central Hall.
Central.
Which one? C5155. There you go.
You just remembered it like that. It's
I
incredible
did,
how these
Ben,
things come
amazing.
to
You caught me out with that question, Ben.
We always like to do something like that, We don't like our guests to feel too comfortable.
Yes. No, but hopefully everybody's downloaded the Infocom app and they can just go on there and find it.
I should have thought of that. That would have been the smart thing to say.
And they can find you on LinkedIn as well, right? And you and the team
they can,
there.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a great team over there, big team. So, and every leader of our global regions is there too, so it doesn't matter where you're from.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you sitting down with
thank
us
you. Thanks
again,
for the opportunity.
Phil. It's always great seeing you.
Absolute
Thank
pleasure.
you so much.